11 days have passed since Buffalo Mayor Byron Brown was offered a contract to become the next president and CEO of Western Regional Off-Track Betting. 7 News political analyst Bob McCarthy and I have been following this potential career change for months and what it could mean for elected leadership here in the city of Buffalo. According to the city charter, should Mayor Brown accept the CEO and president position, Common Council President Chris Scanlon would become acting mayor. After a few interview requests, Scanlon has been unable to speak with us since the offer was announced, but today our Ed Dranch asking Scanlon about his top priorities should he become mayor and how his potential administration would address the current $40 million budget deficit.
Much like my time on the council, I want to try and make sure that we have a clean, safe city for our residents first and foremost. I think that's got to be a top priority. But first and foremost, it's got to be our financial situation. I have some ideas on how we can start to close the gap.
Anything in particular?
Again, out of respect to the mayor, who is the mayor, as I said, until he notifies anyone otherwise. But first, you got to look in our own operation as a city, first and foremost. What are we spending money on? How can we reduce maybe unnecessary spending, first and foremost? I don't think you can look to raise taxes or increase other revenues or fees or anything like that if you don't have your own house in order. So I think that's first order of business, is making sure that we're not overspending on certain things and that we're prioritizing what we need to prioritize.
Now, in a statement, Brown says the OTB contract still needs to be negotiated before he can accept the position. Should he accept, Scanlon would serve as mayor until the next election in November of 2025. That means for the first time in 19 years, there will be a mayoral race here in the city of Buffalo that does not include Byron Brown on the ticket. So who will be? I took that question to our political analyst, Bob McCarthy, to discuss some of the key players in the next election and what it could mean for the city of Buffalo.
We, as anticipated, know that he got that offer recently from OTB to be the next president and CEO.
Right.
Where do we go from here?
There's some complicated negotiations going on from what I understand. Nevertheless, I don't think there's anybody who doesn't expect that Byron Brown will be leaving City Hall to be working in Batavia pretty soon.
We haven't heard about Brown accepting this contract yet from OTB, but we anticipate this. And it seems that before he has even accepted it, people are talking about that June primary.
That's the way it works.
So let's start with people that we're pretty sure are interested in running for mayor, Chris Scanlon being one.
He's at the top of the list because he'll be the acting mayor. He's already raising money. He's working at raising money. So that's going to be important too.
Another name we're hearing is Senator Sean Ryan.
Very important name. He has already established something that he calls a victory fund, which he's raising money for outside of his own Senate campaign fund. He has vast contacts and loyalties among various groups around the city. And it's important to note also, to remember that the last 3 mayors of Buffalo have come from the Senate.
And then another name, keeping within City Hall, is Councilmember Rasheed Wyatt.
I think that we will see him. He's also a veteran of the council now. He's got vast contacts and the ability to raise money. We have to take him seriously.
Another council member being Zanetta Everhart.
And she has become a very well-known member of the council. First of all, she was well-known within the community because she worked very closely with Senator Tim Kennedy, but she also has become not only well-known in this city, but around the country as the mother of one of the people who was wounded in the May 14th shooting.
And then lastly, another council member we're hearing is Leah Halton Pope.
Somebody who also has vast contacts in the city as an aide to the majority leader of the Assembly, Crystal Peoples-Stokes. I don't know what her plans are, but her name is out there.
Another name we've heard that Ed Dranch has been able to confirm with his sources is Garnell Whitfield.
Yeah, another name who not only was the fire commissioner of this city, but his mother was a victim in that shooting. And he's going to have some things to say as a result of this, not just the fact that I was fire commissioner and I know how City Hall works. He's going to have some things to say if he decides to go down this road.
And then another name we've been hearing and who has teased herself on social media is India Walton, who has been a name that we heard last time there was a mayoral race.
India Walton actually has shown she can win a Democratic primary. I'm not sure how serious she is, but she would have a real claim on the on the left wing of the party. So you should not count her out. This is such a significant development in the history of the city. Byron Brown is the longest serving mayor in the long history of this city. And so therefore, just the mere fact that he's stepping away means that everything is different. The thing to watch, how does the political landscape change? And it's going to change.
And Western Regional's OTB Board of Directors is meeting next week, Thursday. That's when we anticipate the board to vote on the negotiated contract between OTB and Mayor Brown, making Brown's new role official.